Hey guys, welcome to our story time today. We are going to be talking about something called synthesize. Can you say synthesize? All right. When you synthesize, you put together information from different parts of the story, the text, to see the author's ideas in new ways. So you have to put all this information together to see what the author is trying to tell you in a new way. So we're going to take a look at how that would look. It's kind of like puzzle pieces that are coming together. So you have one piece of the puzzle is an important idea, and then another piece of the puzzle is important, another and another. And then when you put them all together, just like a puzzle, then you see the big picture, the big idea, and what it all means. So today we're going to be talking about synthesizing. Synthesize while we're looking at our story. And the story that we will be looking at today is called Thank You, Mr. Aesop. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Aesop before, but you're going to be learning a little bit about this. And I know that you probably have heard some things about Mr. Aesop, but you haven't really put um, it together that it goes with him. And today, our story, does it look like it's going to be fiction or nonfiction? Just take a look there at the picture of the cover. Does it look like it's going to be fiction or nonfiction? This one, the cover can kind of trick you a little bit. This is actually going to be an informational text, so it's going to be nonfiction. When you look at the cover, it kind of looks like it's going to be fiction and not tell you something that's important or real, but this is actually going to be an informational text and give us a lot of important information about Mr. Aesop. So it's giving us facts, so we know that it's nonfiction, and it's going to give us facts about people, and we're going to see photographs of real people, which also tell us it's nonfiction. And again, what I told you that we'll be doing when we look at this story is that we are going to read to find out the most important ideas, all the little puzzle pieces from each part, and then we're going to synthesize and put all the ideas together, all those little puzzle pieces, to find out what the new thing is about the text and what it really means to us. I want you to take a look at these yellow words down here at the corner. And these are going to be our power words in our story. So the first one is nonsense. The second one is wise. The third one is lesson. The fourth one is tale. And the fifth one is reply. Here is our author. Her name is Helen Lester. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit about her real quick.
When Helen Lester was little, she thought one of Aesop's fables, The Tortoise and the Hare, was about a hairy turtle. It's true. She found out that it is not about a hairy turtle at all, but instead about a turtle who races a rabbit. Miss Lester grew up reading Aesop's fables. These tales gave her ideas for her own stories. Miss Lester always tries to have a good lesson in them, like in her many books about Tacky the Penguin. So she says, "Thank you, Mr. Aesop."
Okay, so that's a little bit about Miss Helen Lester, who wrote this story. All right, we're going to go ahead and echo read today. So that means that Mrs. Tanner will read first, and then you're going to read after me. All right, so I'll read, and then you read exactly what I just read, and that makes an echo. And we're going to read about Mr. Aesop, right? So, thank you, Mr. Aesop, by Helen Lester. Illustrated by Roberto Wegand. Great job so far. Aesop lived a long, long time ago. It was so long ago that we are not even sure he was real. Some people think Aesop was a storyteller from Greece who told stories about animals that acted like people. Some animals were full of nonsense. Others were wise. These stories are called fables. Each one teaches a lesson. So when I synthesize and I think about all the important things that we've heard so far, I know that we read that this happened a long time ago, and a man named Aesop told stories that taught people lessons. I wonder if I've ever heard or read any of these stories before. I'll remember this idea as we keep reading. It also kind of makes me think of the cover of our story. Let me go back and let's look at that. Look at the cover of our story. What does it look like in these pictures here? Do they look like any stories that you've heard before? Any lessons that we've learned from those stories before? Let's keep reading. People liked Aesop's fables. One person told the story to another, who told another, who told another. You get the idea. Long after Aesop's time, people were still telling the fables. They were printed in books. And just so you guys know, this word under this is each. I don't know why it won't go away. Each author changed the story to make it a little different. So when we're synthesizing on this page, what was the important idea? The stories being told from one person to another, to another, to another, right? The same story is being told over and over and over. And what happened to the stories as time went on? It told us at the very end there. Yeah, they changed a little bit, right? And the authors would make this story a little bit different each time that they read the story or told the story. And at first, how did people know these stories? One person tell another, tell another, tell another, right? And how do people learn Aesop's fables now? So sometimes we see them printed in books, right? It says that on the page too, that they were printed in books. Let's go to the next page. Today, people still like Aesop's fables. Many authors retell these stories. The author, Jerry Pinkney, wrote his own versions of Aesop's fables. His art helps to tell each tale. So looking at this page, look at those stories down there at the bottom. Do you know any of those stories? I think those might have been the ones that were on the cover too, right? Did we read about the grasshopper and the ants last week? That was one of the fables that we read last week, wasn't it? So that was an Aesop's fable. And I want you to point onto the screen at a word that has the A-R-R sound. Take a minute, look on that page. Where do you see the A-R-R sound from this week on that page? I'll give you a hint. It's in the last sentence if you haven't found it yet. Did you point to art? Art has the A-R-R, art, A-R-T, art. And let's synthesize on this page. So authors are still telling Aesop's fables today. Jerry Pinkney is one of them. I know that he uses his art to tell this story. And since people still read Aesop's stories today, I can synthesize that authors write new versions so we can continue to enjoy the stories and learn lessons from them, right? Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at our next page. Ed Emberley and his daughter Rebecca also retell Aesop's fables. They change the stories to make them their own. In their book, The Ant and the Grasshopper, the weather is hot, not cold like any other versions. Let me move this real quick so we can read that next sentence. Also, the grasshopper is not alone. He plays music with a bug band. So we know, right? Look over here. So we have grasshopper and the ants and the ant and the grasshoppers. So the story, like we read before, can be told by different people, even though it's the same exact story, and it can be a little bit different of a version, right? But I bet most of the time you're still learning pretty much the same lesson in most of the books that are told that way and the fables that are told. Let's go on to this next page. Think of it. Many fables we know were first told long, long ago. These stories hold lessons for us all. So, will you be the next storyteller? I hope your reply is yes. You could retell an old fable or make up a new one. What lesson will it teach? Great job, guys. So this is the end of our story. And why do you think Aesop's fables have been told over and over and over for so long? Why do you think that they tell the story over and over and over? Is it to teach us lessons? Very good. All right, so now that you're done with our story for today, you are going to answer some questions about the story on Canvas. Okay, guys? I hope that you have a great rest of your day today.